Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about how to recognize the differences between the IMAX B6AC balanced charger and a fake copy of the same item. So let's get started. The box on the right is actually a fake charger, and the box on the left is a genuine IMAX charger. So if we have a look in the boxes, they look very similar, but there is some differences between the two. If I take the copy, this is the fake charger, and if I unbox the genuine item, and this is the genuine. And first of all, you'll see there is some minor differences. If you look at the lettering, you see here that the B6AC is printed in just simple white, whereas on the genuine item it's in gold print, and also you'll find that the same gold printing saying dual power is also a little bit finer than you have on the fake copy. So that's the first difference. If I turn the two around, on the fake LiPo charger, you see that there is no laser sticker on the back. On the genuine item, here you can see that there is a laser sticker which you can scratch off, and you can go to the SkyRC website and check the number to see if the item is genuine. The other difference is when you look at the ventilation slots, and I'll get closer in a second, you'll see that the genuine LiPo charger has got much larger ventilation slots than the fake charger. I'll just move the camera closer and then I'll take the tops off and compare the differences between the two. Okay, here we have the two chargers. Again, the one on the right is the fake charger, and one thing I will point out is that the actual upper casing is one whole piece with self-tapping screws into the case. On the genuine item, the upper casing is half a shell. Again, you'll see there that you've only got half the shell, the other remaining half stays with the base. And the other point to note is that the fixing holes are threaded for threaded screws. The thing that is obvious straight away is the differences in the size of the power supply. The fake charger has a much smaller power supply, the genuine charger has a much larger unit, and the smaller power supply is actually fixed onto the case with some heatsink sealant to try and keep that cool. And in fact, when I took the case off, I had to cut away the sealant to actually remove the top cover. Whereas on the genuine item, the top cover comes off quite easily, and there's no connection to the power supply at all. The other point to look at here is that the buttons you have across here, the control buttons, compared with the genuine item. On the genuine item, you have a complete arrangement of the push button knobs on one assembly, which fit nicely over the tactile switches, whereas on the fake item you have some silver knobs which appear to be glued on to the tactile switches. The other point to look at is the power wire. The red and black power wire coming from the power supply is much thinner on the fake charger, whereas on the genuine charger you have a much thicker cable coming from the power supply to handle the current. The other thing that's also of interest is on the input here there is no fuse there on the sensed connectors, whereas on this one here you'll see there actually is a solid state fuse there. Now, I mentioned before that the ventilation slots on the bottom of the power supply are much larger and deeper, these holes here, than on the fake. So if you look at these you can actually see through the slot, whereas on the fake charger, if I turn it round, you'll see that there's virtually no clearance on those slots, so there's very little ventilation going through into the power supply. Now, the other point of interest is it's actually, because of the physical size of the power supply, the actual weight of the two units is quite different. If you weigh the fake charger, it weighs about 450 grams, whereas the genuine charger weighs maybe slightly over 600 grams. So again, a quick check is to just pop these on some kitchen scales, and you'll find immediately which is the fake charger. Another point worth noting is the connections here that go to the LiPo battery for charging. These terminals on the fake charger are simply just sort of a plated silver or something. I don't even think it's silver, it's just a normal metal, white metal. Whereas on the genuine item they're gold plated connectors. Yes, and another point worth noting is that the current sense resistors on the genuine item are 2% tolerance, whereas on the fake charger they're 5% tolerance. So they're just these minor differences, and in fact on the fake charger the accuracy of this charger is not as good as the genuine item. Okay, I've plugged the two chargers in now. I'll switch them on and the first thing you'll notice is that the displays display more or less exactly the same. The point I would make is that the fake charger, when you first switch on, the actual sound of the beeper is much louder. It seems to be a cheaper beeper, so if I just show you that, that's the fake charger, whereas on the genuine item it's a little bit more subtle. It's a much softer beep. The other point worth noting is that when I turn both chargers off, if you look at the displays, you'll see that the genuine item stays on for longer after switch off. And this is due to the differences between the two power supplies. One of the other points I should mention is that if you did buy one of these fake chargers, then it's a good idea that you calibrate it, because I found that the ones that I purchased, in all cases the calibration of the unit was incorrect, and in fact it probably had never been calibrated. It's quite simple to calibrate the unit, and what I use for that purpose is a known battery. Here I'm using a lithium-ion battery, and if you look at the test meter here, that's reading the voltage from that particular battery, which is fully charged, and it's reading at 4.164 volt. And I'm going to use that battery to calibrate the unit. To calibrate the unit, it's quite simple. All you need to do is switch the unit off, and then hold the decrement button and the start button in together and press the unit on while you're holding them buttons in. As soon as the display changes to what you see there, which is the calibration display. Here you can see that at the top left there's a plus sign where it gives you a calibration error voltage there, and on the right hand side that would normally display the voltage of the battery. What I'm now going to do is plug in the battery that I just checked. And you can see straight away that the battery is actually reading on the unit 4.14 of a volt, whereas when we look at the test meter it's showing a reading of 4.163 or 1.64 of a volt, as you see there. So we need to adjust the unit so the voltage matches the true voltage of the battery. To do that it's quite simple. You use either the decrement or the increment button. Well, obviously we want to increment now, so as I press the increment button, what you'll see as I increment that, the units there will start to go up, and eventually we should get to a point where the 4.14 volts reaches the correct voltage for this battery of 4.16. So I'll do that now. There we go. You see I've put an adjustment in there of plus 15, and that is now corrected the voltage reading on the charger to read exactly 4.16, which is the same as the multimeter is displaying. We now know that the voltage is correct, and we need to save that calibration error into the IMAX charger. And to do that, you press the start enter button, and you saw there the word save and a few beeps, and save that correction into the unit itself. So next time you switch the unit on, then the reading would be correct. So there we have it. The unit is now calibrated, and it should be reasonably accurate, but I would add to your word of caution is that when you're charging these batteries, you will actually find sometimes that the fake units do not cut off properly when it reaches the maximum of 4.2 volts. And I know there's an error, give or take a few percentage, but even so, when you compare that with the genuine charger, it's absolutely spot on. So there is a difference between the two, and you need to bear that in mind. Okay, I'm now going to take you through quickly the procedure for charging a lithium battery, and we'll do that with a single cell battery, although the unit itself can charge single, 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell, 5 and 6 cell batteries. It's a balanced charger, so you'll actually the connections at the side here will be used when you're charging more than one cell. So we switch the unit on, and we need to set the program type first. So we need to set it for the correct battery. So to do that, we press the button here which says battery type. Press it once, and the first time you press it, it comes to the LiPo battery, which is the battery that we actually have here. But if you were to continue pressing that button, you'd step through the different types of battery that this balanced charger can actually handle. And we keep going round, and you rotate back round to the beginning again. So the first one we selected there was the LiPo battery. To accept that, you simply press the button on the right, the start enter button, and then the display changes to an option there which is LiPo charge. If you were to increment or decrement that, you would move it through the different types of batteries that you could charge on the LiPo range. So you've got the balance charge, fast charge, a storage charge, a discharge, and back to the normal charge. The battery type we have at the moment is a single cell lithium ion battery, which has a nominal voltage of 3.7 volts. Here you can see the nominal voltage there of 3.7 volts, and in brackets behind it there it says 1S, which simply means it's a single cell. It's a one cell battery. The figure on the left is the current which you set for the charging current for the battery, and basically before you do that you have to accept this. But before I do that, if I were to press the button on the left, you see again we can select the different types of batteries. But we'll go back to the LiPo battery, press start. To accept this we press start again, but okay, so we've accepted that option by pressing start again. Now the current indicator is flashing. You can increment or decrement that current using the increment and decrement buttons here, but we'll leave it set there at 1 amp. Happy with that, you press the start button. The voltage type and the number of cells is flashing. If I were to press the decrement or the increment button there, you'll see it step through the different cells. So there's a 2-cell battery. As it increments the cells, the voltage also increases. But we'll go back to our single cell at 3.7 volts. To accept that, press the start button, and the display's now stopped flashing. To accept what we've now programmed in, we simply press the start button once more and hold, and this time we hold it down. And you saw there that it did a battery check, and then it asks you to confirm what you have there. You have the type of battery, single cell battery. You press enter to confirm, and now the battery is charging, and you can see it counting up. Here is the time counting up in the middle, the charging time, and on the right, the bottom right, is the milliampere hours that is being the charge that's been put into that battery. Now this particular battery at the moment is more or less fully charged, so you can actually see the voltage there is reading already 4.2 volts. When the battery is fully charged, there will be a beep indicator from the charger telling you it's charged, and then you can stop the charge sequence. So there we are. So that's a simple procedure for charging a single cell lithium ion battery. Well, I hope you found that information useful, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.